Hello, welcome to the National Real Estate Post. We have a couple of wonderful guests here today, Barry, Habib, and Ryan Hills. We'll get to that in just a second. I do want to remind you guys that Barry and Ryan and I and Brian and a couple of other very important people, David Stevens and Ivy Zellman, will be on a Facebook Live this Thursday, which is at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern time, and you access that through the MBS Highway Facebook page. That's where you'll be able to get on it, or you can certainly go to the RE source because Brian's going to share it there. We're going to share it to the Frank and Brian page. That's going to be important. Also, that same day, Barry, I want to mention too, you'll be on a webinar with NAM, the National Association of Mortgage Brokers, along with Austin Nemick from Quicken Loans, to talk about navigating through the pandemic. And that, guys, you can register for. That's a traditional webinar that you can register for. There's a banner on your screen that's right down below or over on your right, or there's a link around here somewhere where you can actually register for that webinar. And so with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And Barry, this is kind of funny. We brought this up.
I was just going to say, I'm really looking forward to Thursday because Ivy Zellman is the #1 housing analyst in the world. And everybody listens to Ivy. And she's going to take your questions and really share what she thinks about the housing market post-corona. She just came out with all of her estimates. It'll be really important to share with your real estate agents. So I think that'll be great. And David Stevens, he's been wonderful, lending a lot of help and information. So, and there's nobody more wired. You guys did a beautiful interview with him just recently. So I think that these two will give us a lot to talk about in this changing environment.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic, and we really encourage you guys to tune in. We were kind of joking around just for a minute before we went ahead and started recording this, guys. I talked to Barry about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that, and he had just finished a speaking engagement somewhere, and he had been speaking around the country like constantly, and he goes, "Oh, bro, I'm so happy, man. Like, I don't have anything lined up for a month. I'm just home and I get to be here for a whole month and just kind of relax." Like the next day, the corona epidemic hits. And now he's got like 11 interviews a day, every day, all around this. Like no rest for the weary for Mr. Habib. That's for sure.
You guys are in the same boat. You guys are doing the same thing. Ryan, Brian and yourself, Frank, have been doing so many good things to get the word out and help people. So listen, that's what we got to do. We don't think about it. We just do it right now, right? So we're all trying to do our part. So I'm happy to do it.
That's good. And that brings us a perfect segue in. So guys, just stay tuned. I'm going to ask Barry a question, and Ryan's going to follow up with something toward the end here that's extremely important as well. So Barry, recently you have released a document, a letter, if you will, explaining how come it's so devastating for the feds to be buying, or the Fed, I should say, to be buying mortgage-backed securities in such great numbers, and the devastation that it's actually causing on the mortgage industry. You were able to release that through your media connections in a very effective way, to where you have now gotten word that the Fed heard it, and they are starting to lighten up on that. In fact, you just got a text you showed us this morning where one of your media connections pointed out that, hey, the Fed only bought $4 billion when they were going to buy $9 billion of mortgage-backed securities. I just think what I'd like you to, there it is right there. What I'd like you to do, Barry, is just tell us real quickly why this is so critically important right now for the Fed to stop buying these mortgage-backed securities, even if you kind of heard it before. And then Ryan will kick in at the end here and follow up with a very good point as well regarding all this. So take it away.
Well, first of all, thanks for being so kind. But look, it's everyone. You've gotten the word out there. Ryan, you've got the word out there too. So you guys are also all part of this. And quite frankly, people that are listening to this took an article that my son Dan and I put together, and thank goodness you made it go viral. Well over 100,000 views on this thing from our site. That doesn't count all the stuff that you guys have done in social media. So really, it's everyone here that's watching. All of you deserve the credit for this. But there have been a couple of people I just want to thank personally and publicly here, and that is people like Peter Bookvar, who is read by everyone, and he took it, and when he put it out last week, it started to get a lot of attention. And then John Walden sent it out to his 2 million readers, which John Walden was shocked when I explained to him, as was Peter Bookvar. And these guys are so busy, but they took so much time, hours, to learn this. And John Walden's piece went over the weekend, and on top of John Walden's piece over the weekend, Steve Leisman, he and I and Dan and Rick from my office, we got on a Zoom call last night, and literally Steve said to me, he said, you blew up my Sunday night, but it was worth it because we spent well over 2 hours to, first of all, get him so that he totally gets it, and then so he could report on it. And this has gotten to the Fed at this point. So I don't know if it was something that one of you all did, one of you gentlemen did, if it was John Walden, Peter Bogfar, Steve Leisman, but the Fed has responded, and the proof is in the pudding. This morning, mortgage bonds were up 69 basis points, and I was getting texts from every leader at every company said, Barry, oh my God, here we go again. Another round of margin calls, oh no, to now being down on the day. Thank God, I never thought I'd be praying for mortgage-backed securities to come down, but we need mortgage bonds to not be purchased by the Fed, to actually just give some relief just for a short period of time, a week, 2 weeks, let these loans clear out, and then go ahead and buy all you want. But this is a time frame for us to get this reprieve from the Fed. And thank God, it looks as if the message that we have put out there, thanks to you guys and everyone else I mentioned, that they are hearing it finally. And I don't blame the Fed. It's complicated. It's hard to understand. So they have finally gotten the message.
That's really good news. I guess what I would ask real quick before we move over to Ryan is, so obviously mortgage-backed securities improving where we normally say that's fantastic. The improvement is causing these margin calls, and when it's massive improvement, it's massive calls that have become an enormous amount of money for these bankers to try and absorb because they're shorting it, basically, as you had said before. If it comes down and it in turn falls the other direction, is that similar? Do you have the same type of situation if it falls?
No, you don't.
Okay.
You don't. Yeah, because all that does is increase. See, so here's what's going on. So maybe we'll just take a minute. I'll try and go quick here, but I think so that everybody's following along with us, it's important. So in order to protect yourself from interest rates going up, interest rates go up when mortgage-backed securities drop. You want to protect yourself because when you tell someone that, okay, I'm locking you at, let's say, 4%, you're not locking them. You're promising to close them at 4%. That's all that means. It really should not be said lock. It should say, I promise you 4%. So I'll pay the difference if rates go up. So when mortgage bonds go down in price and rates go to 4.5, at the time of closing, the mortgage company, the lender, has to pay the difference to buy the rate from 4.5 to 4 to keep their promise. Now, because they don't want to lose money, they have created a way for them to protect themselves. So they'll be in a position that if mortgage bonds do worse or go down in price, causing rates to rise, they can profit from that by shorting mortgage bonds. So if mortgage bonds are a price of 100 and the price goes to 99 or 98, they're making a profit of 100 or 200 basis points on that, which covers their loss to buy the rate back down to 4% of 100 or 200 basis points. It pairs off, they're fine. On the way down, it should work the same with one caveat. But on the way down, now they lock the customer at 4, promise them 4. It goes to 3.5. That means mortgage bonds have gone up quite a bit from, let's say, 100 to 102. So they're going to make 200 basis points more on this loan. That's great. But in order to protect themselves the other way, what they're doing is they're losing money on their short position because they shorted mortgage bonds at 100. Now it's 102. So by shorting, remember, I sold it at 100. I got to buy it back at 102. They lose 200 basis points in there, which pairs off against the 200 basis point gain on the loan when it closes, and it pairs off and it's fine. But for the timing issue. When mortgage bonds rise so rapidly, my short position, and remember, these things are going up 500 basis points, 600 basis points. So now I'm 600 basis points upside down on my short position. Theoretically, I should make 600 basis points par on my loan if I close it, if the customer doesn't walk, if the Fed doesn't say rates are at 0, go get a better rate, if the customer didn't lose their job when I did their VOE, if I can get it with my skeleton staff to do. So all if, I should do it, except that the broker-dealer doesn't want to wait. The broker-dealer says, you're upside down, I want my money and I want it now. You go ahead and collect the rest of the money when it closes. So mortgage lenders have the ability to pair this off for the most part, but because the broker-dealer wants the money now and it takes time to close, they're running out of money and cash beforehand. The saying in the mortgage business is, you don't close your doors because of a lack of business. You close your doors because business is too good and you run out of money. That's the crazy thing about this industry.
So, yeah, it's just insane. So obviously the Fed backing off, MBS is dropping. That's going to put a lot of relief into the system. That's going to help a lot of these mortgage bankers out. With everything that is going on, with these margin calls that are just massive and excessive, there's a lot of rumor going on around out there about different lenders. Ryan, you had something you wanted to bring up about this. Could you take it away?
Yeah, and that was actually a good question, because even though Barry has explained that probably 100 times now, I get the same question about every day. So I'm glad you guys covered that again. But we're in serious times, and Barry's talked about it a lot. And one, I think it's really cool if we can collectively work together to actually change the Fed direction. That's really cool to me. That detail is not lost on me, that Barry and the MBA and the brands can work together to go change the Fed and an emergency decision. So how cool would that be if we actually pull that off? Second,
we collectively have really, in a way, we've saved the mortgage industry. In a way, let's hope that they continue to sit on the sidelines. But Ryan, you're right. What we did was really cool, all of us together.
It's amazing, and I'm proud of that. It's mainly you, Barry, and the MBA and National Real Estate Post. I'm just here to help share and push the cause on. But we're still in serious times, guys. And a funny story that's not funny. On Friday, I had one of the top originators in the country call me, "Hey, Ryan, I heard you guys are in trouble." And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, I just hung up with your regional. I heard you're in trouble." And we kind of laughed about it, but that isn't helpful right now, guys. I mean, it's so serious. Your lender isn't trying to take advantage of you. Now is the time to support them. They're working through serious challenges. We're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about millions of dollars. And so I just want to kind of share my messages. Hey, support each other. Calling somebody to spread a rumor isn't helpful. I promise you, you got more than enough to do on your plate. I do. I got 24 hours of work today. I'm here spending time with Barry and Frank to try to, further the mission and cause again. But guys, let's work together. Banks, mortgage banks, brokers, everybody. I don't want to see anybody lose their job. It would be horrible if they did. And you guys don't understand, but we're way more connected than we think. Those of you that lived through 06, 07, 08, it's not good. It's a domino effect if we start seeing companies go down. We don't want to see that. I promise you, you don't want to see that. Support each other and support your brands.
That couldn't be a better message, because first of all, you never want to take pleasure in someone else's suffering. You want to pray for all these people, because that's what it is. Not a company, it's people. You don't want anyone, as you said, to lose. You want to just pray for them and pray that everybody is able to cross this bridge and get across it, because we have so much good and so much abundance on the other side. That's the thing. We're in this critical time here. And, it's a matter of, a lot of times it's difficult. If you're driving down the road at night, you can only see as far as the headlights shine. And what you have to have is faith and belief that even though you can't see it, there's more road ahead. And that's what we want to be able to focus on right now. Don't focus on just what your headlights are shining on. Believe that there is some great things. The housing market will rebound, and it is unbelievably strong. There's simply too much demand and not enough supply. And all the other demographics and metrics that are really strong. But on top of that, when you take a look at where rates will be extraordinarily low, lowest we've ever seen in our lifetime when we cross this bridge. And you've got so many people that you will both refinance and do purchases on. And especially what you need to be doing is cash out, refinance, and debt restructure and reduce the term of their mortgages. These are all things that will give you fulfillment, but it will also allow you to be extraordinarily prosperous. All of us will. There is more business than we can all handle. So we want to pray for everybody out there to get across this bridge together. Everybody. Now, it's bad juju to wish bad on somebody. Okay. Don't ever do that. So just pray for them and wish good for them to get through this.
Thank you. Awesome stuff, guys. We'll go ahead and cut it off right now and get this show out, and for everyone who's watching, just take heed to it, gather whatever information you can with it, use this information to pass along to your consumers, et cetera, your teams, so they have a better understanding of what's going on. And very important message and timely message with respect to just everybody trying to work together. We've been hearing this a lot lately, but it doesn't get old, especially right now, especially since we're at such a critical point in this whole situation. It's a very, very critical moment. And the fact that the Fed is hearing and lightening up could be really, really massive relief to a lot of mortgage companies out there. So with that, Barry and Ryan, thank you so much for being on today. We'll see you guys Thursday.
Love being with you guys.
Looking forward to it.
Being with you guys.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, and guys, do us a favor, leave us your comments down below, forward and share this with your teams, and subscribe for free if you're meeting us for the first time. We'll catch y'all later here at the National Real Estate Post.